All right, we're recording.
All right. Welcome to another episode of Drop Third Strike with myself, Terry Gant, in Chicago, Illinois, and my podcast partner, Beth Davies-Stavka in Denver, Colorado.
Good Sunday afternoon, Terry.
It is actually a decent Sunday afternoon here. We've got one that's not like a blustery, snowy, or whatever the hell day. It feels like it's probably already 80 degrees with a decent breeze. I've already had one wasp get into my house. Many wasps have been trying to get into my house. One actually successfully got in, but I dealt with that. But it means that like there's some windows we're having to watch because we think that's what's happening. We think they're kind of, crawling in through a crack in a window frame or something like that. Yeah. So we're on the lookout. I'm walking around the house looking for if there's any kind of wasp nest like attached to my house or something. I haven't seen one, but like it doesn't mean that they're just where I can't see them.
Right. They come back every year. We have to get rid of one a year. They just come back every year.
I'm wondering if I shouldn't just get the water hose out and hose the parts of the roof off just in case.
Yeah. Well, just in case they're getting going. Like, we killed you all last year. It was like waspicide.
I absolutely encourage you to move somewhere else. Because you're not honeybees, you're not bumblebees, you're wasps.
Do your birds eat wasps?
I don't think they've ever encountered one, so I don't think they would know to attack and dispatch a wasp if they had to. I think for the most part, they would sort of like not notice the wasp was there. Probably. And then sort of go about their business and not be useful in that regard.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Your cat might, but these birds, I don't think they would consider this to be a thing they ought to be doing.
Cats keep houses pretty clean, but like pretty clean of mice.
Yeah.
Bugs, spiders, moths, but I don't know.
I'm waving to Steve behind you.
Probably going after a wasp. I don't know what happens.
Steve waved and I waved back at Steve.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he did. Yeah. Hello, Steve. We have to get the Steve cameo now and then, right?
Right. Absolutely.
All right. So how was your week in baseball? I have to ask you, what did you have for breakfast?
Today, I had a mix of leftovers and cold pizza.
Oh, that sounds really good.
Yeah.
I had toast and peanut butter. Totally dull.
Does this mix into this week in baseball?
Well, kind of, because one of my big events of baseball this week was no more MLB Central, because the thing is I subscribed to YouTube TV just before the season started.
Okay.
Because I wanted all the season starting stuff, right?
Sure.
I was going through some paperwork and noticed that it was the day before YouTube was scheduled to renew, and I said, that's like $70 a month.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that area.
Something
and I'm only watching one channel on the entire YouTube TV.
Right.
That's absurd. MLB Central and all other MLB TV related things are fun, but not worth $70 a month to me.
Right. Yes.
So I'm flying without that now. And so what I said was, well, because I have MLB.TV, which I love. I just love that app. And I decided to explore its features a little more than I have in the past. Yeah. And so now I'm getting up in the morning, and instead of putting on MLB Network, I'm watching condensed games.
Okay.
So I could, I thought, I wonder what that's like. Like, what's a recap versus a condensed game? And so a condensed game is condensed, and with everything you'd think. But I get to see all the key plays. I get to see some of the setup to all the key plays. I don't know what their time limit is on those things, but yeah, I can watch 2 or 3 of those when I get up in the morning over my coffee. And so it's expanded my experience of live baseball by a lot.
Yeah.
So that's
what you're missing? You're missing shots of the Reds manager, like with his mask on, apparently saying something to someone that no one can understand, but the director absolutely had to get a shot of the guy. Like, well, you don't know what he's saying, and he's wearing a big black mask. Like, what? He may as well be like a statue. Like that's not we don't need that shot. Can you get back to the baseball thing, please?
Yeah, I miss that. I definitely miss odd directorial decisions. Yes. And I miss especially if it's like a good commentator, I miss that. But those are the ones I'm going to go back and put on in full anyway. My favorite color guys, like I want to hear Oral Hershiser, I want to hear Justin Morneau, I want to hear Steve Stone. Sure. And I just like the back and forth, like the banter quality of Bob Carpenter and FP. And I really like the way that Bob Carpenter calls games. And so I
Okay.
like the sound of his voice. And so those are the ones that I'm likely to go after just to listen to it. And I got to tell you, biggest thing that happened this week is something I can barely get into. It was the Sunday night game between Dodgers-Padres. Did you
Sure.
happen to watch that game?
That game was hot. That whole series was hot.
That whole series was hot, but that Sunday night game was so incredible. What I really wanted to do was call in sick one day. I didn't do this, but I wanted to call in sick. I wanted to watch the entire game again. I wanted to make notes about all the really cool things that the LA booth said. And then I wanted to listen to every episode of Baseball Tonight podcast, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, make notes off that, and then sit down and look at all my notes and say, holy shit. Because I mean, that game was incredible.
Yeah.
And little stuff, like there was this point where, of course I can't remember names. And I had 2 shots of espresso because last week I couldn't remember shallow center. And Luke Raley, that's his name. There was a point where Luke Raley was up to bat, and at the point that of his at bat, 8 Dodgers had been left on base, and they'd all been left on base by him. And
yes.
So, it was
poor Luke Raley. Yes.
Little things that you were just going, wow.
Yeah.
And then
Luke Raley doesn't deserve that to be a stat, right? Like,
no, but he's
not a star for the Dodgers at all. But boy, it came down to you a couple times, and you didn't do a thing.
Yeah, but he got a hit at that particular at bat, so then he erased that possibility of having that horrible thing happen to him. And so, but it was all the little points within the game where there was something extraordinary at stake, even if it didn't like wind up being something that had to go in the record books because something, turned it around. It was so much fun. And, I really got us thinking about that, runner on second rule, in the top of the 10th, because that just broke my heart. I mean, it's just that sinking feeling, when the Padres came all the way back and tied the game, but then it's the top of the 10th, and you got a Dodger on second. You're like, man, really, it's going to end right here. I don't want it to end right here. And unfortunately it didn't, right? Fortunately. But that was, I mean, there was so much. And the Baseball Tonight Thursday podcast, Charles Barkley was on, because he's so excited about Dodgers Padres that he's like texting Buster Olney about it in game, and of course Olney jumped on that by saying, hey, come on the podcast. And Barkley's like, okay. So now we've got like, superstar media guys outside of baseball who are excited about baseball and talking about baseball, and don't want to miss a Padres game, don't want to miss another series game between Dodgers Padres. And it's pretty exciting. I mean, it's just like baseball is exciting at a level it wasn't exciting before.
Sure.
While at the same time everybody's talking about how boring it is.
Well, it's that thing where like something can't be exciting every second in which you're paying attention to.
Yeah.
Right? Like every time you look right now in this game, even right now, it looks like probably Nick Senzel. Yep, Nick Senzel's coming up to bat for the Reds. And currently he's just wiping some sweat off his brow. And then they just show David Ross, and David Ross is chewing gum underneath his big blue mask and arms draped over the rail. And okay, Senzel's right. Like there, in 15 seconds right there, literally nothing happened.
Yeah.
However, in a minute, something just might happen. And even if it's like Trevor Williams throwing a high, tight, freaking almost fastball, right? Because it was not fast. That was like somewhat slow, but high. Like that is something that happened.
Yeah, and there's another
I consider it to be an occurrence. Yeah. That's an occurrence of a thing happening.
Yeah, it is. One of the reasons why I love the broadcast teams that I just mentioned to you is because they tell the story of the game. They keep it so exciting. They keep it so exciting because they're telling you at every minute, here's what's happening, and it's cool. And in case you don't know, this happened in these 20 other places that I can explain to you, and I can tell you what happened. Oh man, they come prepared. They are amazing. They are amazing. So this is a little bit about my week in baseball. How was your week in baseball?
I noticed this week in baseball, there are a lot of pitchers who seem to want to start fights. Oh my goodness. What is wrong with these guys? Like I know you think that you're ready to go against these major league hitters. You're not really ready to go.
Yeah.
You're really hoping somebody's teammates grab that guy before he gets to you. Stop it, pitchers. Just cut it out. Just go ahead and be pitchers. Amir Garrett, I know you're a big boy. Yes, you're a big boy. But At some point, you're gonna get your ass kicked. Like, just don't. Really, like, unless you're not Nolan Ryan. If you're Nolan Ryan, I bet you're gonna win that damn fight, right? You're not Nolan Ryan. There's no need to be like beckoning like Javier Baez to jump over the rail, because if Javier Baez jumps over the rail, he's not coming along, right? And his teammates are closer to him than you are to yours. So, like, Javier Baez's teammates can kind of lope out there to stop him from getting into a fight with you. Your teammates have to sprint to get to you. Don't do it, right? It's not worth it. What is all this? This is the week in which all these pitchers, like, and this gets back to like what Trevor Bauer was saying about sort of emotion and like really feeling some emotion in the game, and that being all right. And if you get pumped up, fine, celebrate the thing, right? But Javier Baez's point was, you celebrated the thing at my dude who didn't, like, he just didn't at bat. Right? Like, he didn't do anything to you, you know? You directed your energy to him, right? Trevor Bauer does his, like, you know, sword fighter, put the sword back in the scabbard thing. He's not directing that at anybody. Right? If you go up there and you do your Yosemite Sam finger guns thing, it's not directed at anybody. If you direct it at somebody, they get a chance to respond to you now.
That's
right? That's
right.
The difference. What are you guys doing? Like, you turned to the opposing dugout and started talking mad trash. Come on, it's a long season. These people are going to get hits off you. Right? Stop it, pitchers. Cut that out.
Okay, so when Nando's going around the bases with his eye covered.
Right. He went around the bases with his eye covered because it was Trevor Bauer who specifically said that at one point he struck somebody out with one eye covered. Right. So Nando's like, okay, you might want to open both eyes because I'm gonna hit the shit out of this ball. Right. Like, I'm okay with that. And when he turned and did the thing, he didn't do the one, I think, at Trevor Bauer. He did it to his own teammates.
Okay, so that's the difference. It's at the guy versus another thing.
What he'd done was he had rounded first base and was headed to second, and he turned his whole body around while he's trotting for his home run. So if you see him when he does it, he's practically turned backwards. The only person he could only be doing that to either the first baseman, his own first base coach, or his own dugout, right? And I think he was doing it to his own dugout.
Definitely.
Trevor Bauer couldn't complain about it because he's like, yo, he got me, you know? Like, had he turned to Trevor Bauer and was like, haha, look, I got you, bro. Like, look, I covered one eye and I hit a home run off you. Then Trevor Bauer's going to be like, okay, you son of a bitch. That's it. Now you're getting like diets of balls you shouldn't be able to hit. Right.
All right.
I get that too. But if it's what was happening this week was guys specifically going after whole other teams. And for what? If you're the Cubs and the Brewers had a problem in the last couple of weeks because the Brewers just keep hitting Cubs hitters, right? They keep plunking them with baseballs, and then and like umpires don't seem to be doing anything about it. So the Cubs are kind of pissed off. They're like, okay, well, you know what? We're gonna start throwing at you, and now we're gonna be ready to fight. You know? And then it was like Cubs players getting suspended or warned and all this, and it's like we've been getting. If you look at the hit by pitch numbers, the Cubs are pretty high up there when they're playing the Brewers, and the Brewers are doing it because it seems like they can get away with it. Right. So when you're doing things to be antagonistic specifically, and somebody responds to you, you can't complain when you get what you asked for. You know, and I feel like when pitchers are doing this, you're doing it to a crowd of people who can get to you faster than you think. You're expecting your teammates to have your back, but your teammates who have your back are further away. Like, now they got to be thinking, what the hell? What's happening? What just went down? Oh man! All right, our guy's in trouble. We better go get him. You better hurry. You know, because some of these pitchers are also walking towards the people they're antagonizing. They're walking further away from their teammates. This goofiness.
How many times have you seen this happen this past week?
This week it was twice. So once it was Amir Garrett, and the other time it was who was the guy I texted you about? Who was it was a St. Louis Cardinals
Alvarado.
pitcher. Yeah, it was Alvarado.
Phillies,
the Phillies. That's what it was. It's Phillies.
Mets,
Phillies Mets. And he just had all kinds of crap to say. And it was like, what is his issue? What in the shit is he doing? Like, he's just on the muscle for nothing. And at some point, like, okay, nah, this is gonna get you in trouble, buddy.
Well, especially because it's the Mets. I was I was talking to somebody this past week who lives and works in Albany, New York, and we discovered in our conversation that both of us are baseball fans. I mean, he's like a Yankees fan. He plays on a fantasy team. I mean, we're pretty committed to baseball. And when he told me he was a Yankees fan, I told him, "Oh man," I said, "That's I really feel for you. That's got to be really tough for you this year." And I think that was a completely legitimate thing to say. The Yankees are scuffling, as they say. The Yankees are really not looking
because
good.
they can't stay healthy no matter what they do, and this has
No
been going
matter
on for
what.
a couple
Yeah.
seasons now. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like somebody's pressing. I mean, somebody's hurt.
Right. Yeah.
Mostly, and in pitching, it's painful and to watch, for the most part. And but still, when we went a little further down the road on this conversation, and I told him that my first team that I'd really fallen in love with was the Mets, he went, "Oh, I'm sorry."
Yeah, because aside from 1986, there's not a lot where you're like, hot damn those Mets.
Yeah, so it's like, why would you beat up on the Mets? Like what's to be gained as a pitcher from getting all up in the face of the Mets?
I can say that if I'm being a competitive pitcher, then my reasoning becomes like the Mets are the highly touted, highly expensive free agent team, right? So like maybe part of what I want is I want to beat the Mets because their new owner put a bunch of money in to that team, and like everyone's expecting them now to win the NL East. They're just giving them the NL East. If that's what I'm responding to, then I kind of feel like, okay, that's a thing. Sure, yeah, that could be a thing. Absolutely,
yeah, that's true. But when their star, $341 million shortstop is hitting like 120, I mean.
Yes. What are you worried about? He's still playing shortstop very well at a high level, right? But he's not hitting like a $300 million player.
No.
And I'm not sure that I ever would have expected him to hit like a $300 million player.
I wouldn't have. Maybe a little better than he is hitting. Like something's in his head. But for now, I mean, it was like this. It was like this tennis match I was watching, and I can't remember who the opponent was, but it was somebody who was playing Roger Federer, and Roger Federer was not having a good day that day, and this guy was getting a lot of good shots on Federer, and with everyone that Federer could not return for whatever reason, this guy got more and more pumped, more and more excited, and more demonstrative.
Yes.
To the point where John McEnroe said, "Man, I would not be poking that bear." And sure enough, there was a point where, because Federer, nobody knows that Federer is like this really intensely emotional guy.
Yes.
He plays with such composure, but I mean, there was a point where Federer, because he has all that composed, he can use it. And he did. And he reacted, and he didn't look like he did, but suddenly he just sliced the guy to pieces and let him win. So if I were the Phillies, I would not be poking the bear just in case there's a bear in there. Now, we're not sure if the Mets have a bear, but just in case.
Because the bear that the Mets have would be like a Pete Alonso who can hit balls completely out of the yard, but he's not going to hit 290. Nope. Right? He's not going to embarrass you with a diet of doubles. Like, there's Jeff McNeil and Michael Conforto who seem to be fine players, but I don't think they strike fear in anybody's heart. Right? Like there's a number of guys on the Mets and you're just like, oh, that guy's on the Mets now. Oh, that's cool.
Oh,
I guess that's nice. Oh, that guy's still playing. He's still in the league. Oh, great. Look, he's their catcher. But the Mets, like the big signing was the damn, like the shortstop. So it's like, you spend a lot of money for a defensive guy who can make a whole lot of things happen. And what you really need is run scoring constantly. You need Mookie Betts. Yeah, you do. Yeah. Right. That's what you needed. You needed Mookie Betts. Yeah. Right. And I'm not entirely sure that that's what you got. Right. You might have gotten more composed and refined Javi Baez. And that is a different issue. Right. Yeah. That's what I think happened. And I suspect that this might be the case, even though it's definitely it's now May, right? But like the Mets woes were really April, But you're counting on your expensive shortstop to pull your ass out of the bacon, and he can, you got to have guys on base if he's going to hit a home run or if he's going to hit a double or a triple. He can make a lot of exciting ass things happen, but it's really Mookie Betts is what you want him to be. Yeah, or you kind of need him to be, but you don't have a Corey Seager, right? You don't have a Cody Bellinger. Right. Like that's what I think the issue is. You're missing some of these components that make the price tags work. Right. Yep. Jacob deGrom is losing games. Yeah, I know. Right. Like that's our problem.
I
You
love
know,
that press conference with deGrom where, he pitched, what did he strike out like 14?
yeah,
Just this past week, just his last start. He struck out
yes,
like 14 and the Mets lost 1-0. And
yep,
the reporters asked him, you've been like really gracious about this for a long time now. I mean, isn't there a certain point where you wonder why your team isn't producing? And he was like, oh, I was just kind of running over my pitch sequence. And, it's like, man, you have like bottomless wells of diplomacy. You
yes,
can represent the United States to Iran when you
yes.
retire from baseball because you are,
Jacob deGrom is a pitcher who understands that wins are not a stat he controls.
right, yeah.
Right, which is very hard. Like everybody, you
Yeah.
look at pitcher stats and people go, "Ooh, he won 12 games last year." Well,
Uh-huh.
he was in a game and left the game while his team had a lead.
Yeah.
Right? He's not.
Yeah.
It's not the same thing as he won those games. Right? Like, and Jacob deGrom might be the pitcher who understands the most that you. Yeah, we're looking for your win total to go up, but you're not really in charge of that. That literally, your job is strikeouts. Your ERA staying down is you doing your job.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
You're keeping guys off the base. You are doing your job. You cannot
Just go
control
ahead
whether
and be the
win the
best
game.
pitcher in baseball and leave the rest to the team. Yeah.
Now, at some point, though, you start wanting to see like the results. You want some cheering, like he's getting cheered while his team is losing 1-0, 2-0, right?
That would be
so
nice. Yeah.
Like what you kind of want is to walk away knowing that you did your job and there was a victory.
Yeah.
That will be a thing at some point, which could just mean when Jacob deGrom's contract is up, Jacob deGrom ends up pitching for somebody else.
Yeah, no doubt.
Jacob deGrom in a Braves uniform, Jacob deGrom in a Giants uniform, Jacob deGrom. Like there's going to be teams who are one superstar ace away, right? Somebody wants to be, sorry, what? Oh my God. Just not, he knows the camera's on.
Yes,
he has to know. He was just there. He was just there. He just waved. My God, Steve. Somewhere along the way, what is going to happen is some team is going to go and do what the Padres did. They're going to try to pick up everybody's arms.
Yeah.
And Jacob deGrom is going to be an arm they go after.
Yeah.
And Jacob deGrom is going to love being a New York Met. But he's also going to love being a Houston Astro. He's going to love being a Cub. He's going to love being a Cardinal. He's going to love being on some team that scores runs that is an ace or two away.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. He is. He's because he's with us for a while. I'm pretty sure that deGrom is going to be really great for more than last year and this year, or the year before. I mean, he's getting up there, but he's going to keep being really great.
Yep.
So yeah, I didn't understand. I heard all the hype about the Mets, and I thought, wow, the Mets must be really good. And then the first Mets game I saw, I'm like, well, who are these guys? Like, why are they so good? I don't understand, right? And apparently I was right. The first Mets game for me was the day I got home from my first dose of the vaccine, and I didn't last about an hour before I was in bed, and I put on the Mets. I can't remember who they were playing, although this was the game, right? I put it on, went to sleep, woke up. They're still playing, of course, and I think it was the one where, was it Conforto? He like stuck his elbow out and got hit.
Yep.
Yeah, so that gave him the win. That was my first Mets game, and I thought, well, okay, so that's what it takes. Why the Mets? Why the Mets? And the NL East is not as exciting as we thought it would be.
It's exciting in that, like, I like watching the Braves.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to like watching the Phillies, but if the Phillies pitchers are going to try to get them beat up, then I kind of got to watch now.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
I don't
fun in a really
in an accidental sort of way, right? And I want to watch the Nationals because like I like a lot of the things that they're capable of doing. You just got to hope they go and do it.
I love watching the Nationals. I wanted to do a little Josh Bell check-in with you because I was watching the Nationals. I think it was it was the Friday game. It was the game where they just ran all over the Marlins. I mean, just steamrolled them. And they said on the broadcast that Josh Bell, switch hitter, right?
Yep.
They said he hits more balls the other way, no matter which side he hits from.
Right.
That strikes me as being unique. That strikes me as being very unique. And they said it was unknown. They don't know if they play him that way, but it makes him a really interesting hitter. And I wanted to ask you, if Josh Bell was on your team, what Josh Bell was on the other team, would you shift on him?
There'd be no point. Right. I would play Josh Bell more than likely in a regular kind of defense. Right. Like Josh Bell's not super fucking speedy. You know,
right.
He's not going to blow the doors off us running. There ain't no point in me shifting
Right.
because he can't hit the ball the other way. That defeats the shift.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's no point. Like, I'm not going to, you shift on a guy who has the tendency to pull and has not shown you that he can go the other way. And when you think he's in a power slump, yeah, you do the shift, right?
Yeah,
but
okay.
If Josh Bell's going to hit the ball the other way, no matter what side of the plate he's on, all you're doing is just challenging him and he's probably going to beat you. So
yeah.
I would not. I would just play him with a standard defense and I wouldn't let him, like, I would play back because he can hit the ball out of the park, but a lot of times he's hitting the ball to the warning track and it's dropping.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Josh Bell's not a 50 home run guy. So I'm going to play him deep because I'm going to respect his power.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm probably going to try to have like left and center covered with fast guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he's going to put a charge into the ball. So that's the way I would do it. I would just let him pick a side he's going to pitch from. And then that's what he's going to hit from. And then I would switch my speedy fielders to different sides of the field.
Okay.
That's what I would do.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
But I'm not going to shift because I think he can beat the shift, especially when his confidence is up, right? Early in the season, he wasn't doing quite so well, right? So his confidence might not have been so great, but now that it's getting warmer out and people are like starting to feel it a little more and they're getting loose. Like, yeah, nope. Not giving you a chance to feel like I made a mistake.
Yeah. They're getting loose and I'm sure everybody on the Nationals knows at this point it's not on me. It's not on me.
Yes.
Which must make it so much fun. It must make it so much fun to be Josh Bell, Josh Harrison, right? And
Cal Schwarber.
It must be so much fun to be those three
Juan
guys.
Soto is on the injured list now, but it'll probably come off the injured list at some point this week.
Okay.
And really, like Trey Turner's still being Trey Turner. Yeah. Your real issue is like, when is Victor Robles gonna like step up, or have we discovered that Victor Robles is really more of he's not an everyday middle of the lineup dude. He's kind of like a fourth outfielder, right? And if that's the case, that's a shame because his potential wasn't fourth outfielder potential, right? Yeah. His potential was top of your lineup, speed and some pop, right? And I think that like he's the guy who has regressed, right, in that situation.
Way more than I thought. Yeah.
Yeah. Robles is the issue here, and we need him to snap out of that.
Yeah. I will say with Barkley, this made me really happy. They asked him on the podcast, outside of like, Dodgers-Padres contests, what did he think was really important to watch in baseball? And he said Max Scherzer.
Yeah. Sure.
That's always a show. It's always an event. deGrom too, but deGrom is so contained, Scherzer turns it into like a spectacle, but deGrom is just patient.
Well, it's also like Shane Bieber. Like there's guys out here who are pitching, and when people go, baseball's boring, nothing's happening. Okay, well, watch deGrom, watch Zach Plesac right now. Watch Shane Bieber, watch these pitchers who are, they're 80-mile-an-hour curveballs don't look like 80-mile-an-hour curveballs, right? Like they're fooling people. Like that's good stuff to watch.
Bauer and Darvish?
Yeah, absolutely. Bauer and Darvish.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. Those guys, man, we got such amazing stuff to watch right now, but this seems to be what has everybody upset. They're saying that 2021 baseball is the game in which you never have balls in play.
Like if there's so many good pitchers, then like it's going to be hard to get balls in play against everybody's number one and number two guy, right? But also, the reason you don't have balls in play is because you have a lot of damn strikeouts because everybody's going for launch angle. Right? You coach launch angle into the game, right? In order to get more home runs, it'll get you more strikeouts. So no, you're not going to have more balls in play.
Okay.
If what you want is
this week, we're feeling very consistent. We do not want them to move the mound in order to make it easier for hitters. We don't want that.
Nah, but you train these pitchers to be this good.
Yeah.
So if you train the pitchers to be this good, why are we also then penalizing them because it's working?
Right. Right.
I'd rather have my team go, well, today's going to be a rough one. Shane Bieber's pitching. We're going to go out there and swing anyway. Right. I'm not striking out looking against Shane Bieber and Max Scherzer. I'm going to swing the freaking bat.
What if you put the mound on some kind of conveyor mechanism so that when you move it back? And
Got to make it fair when it's like when Trevor Bauer's pitching.
Yeah. Well, because I was
Yeah.
thinking about that earlier. I was thinking about how I mean, so I'm soft. I'm too soft, I'm sure, and I really want everybody in baseball to succeed at the highest possible level and be really, really happy doing it. That's what I want.
Sure.
Of course, that means that I don't want competition because somebody's going to lose, and I want everybody to succeed and be happy. I don't want anybody to lose and go home. So hold on a minute, Beth, because you can't have it both ways. I mean, either, especially because the competition is what makes them succeed at such a high level. So I think in part I'm just philosophically opposed to the idea of trying to make it more fair by moving the mound, because this isn't supposed to be fair. This is supposed to be a contest.
Right. Yes.
And what's fair is that everybody has the same rules. What's fair is that everybody has the same tools, but that is it. That's the line stops there. That's where it ends. And everything after that is competing to be the best.
Right.
Yeah. So that's why I don't like moving the mound, because I don't think things need to be made more fair. There needs to be more contest.
Yes. Yes. If you want to hit Max Scherzer, get better at hitting Max Scherzer.
Exactly.
Improve your scouting report on Max Scherzer. Max Scherzer hasn't won every game that he's pitched in.
Yeah,
people have beaten Max Scherzer before. What did those people do? Yeah,
it can happen. Yeah, so figure it out, and you want to see them figure it out, because that's part of the excitement of the game, is to say, "Wow, that guy really figured that out." So this brings me around to let's say yesterday's White Sox game, because of Triston McKenzie. Who is so young and so thin, and
second year string bean player. Yes.
Yeah, you just want to be like, oh, I don't want him to feel bad.
Found my third bird. Okay, my third bird has made an appearance.
Hey.
Now my fourth bird, I think I also heard fluttering around, but might be just somewhere else in my living room. Might not be behind the chest anymore.
So they're theoretically safe for now.
Yeah, and as long as they're really not. Yeah, they're making noise. They're calling out to the other birds to figure out where the other birds are. That's what's happening. I can hear them. So
are any of them underdogs?
What we have is Mulder and Scully are the two crappiest flyers. So you have to kind of root for them to just get anywhere they're trying to get. So Scully just came out of the cage to go back to sit on top of the cage.
Okay.
It was touch and go too, because they weren't all even sharing cages. Like Mulder and Scully had theirs and Watson and Sherlock had theirs, but now they're kind of commingling in each other's cages. So that's a good sign for the flock. And now I think Scully's like, where the fuck is Mulder? Because Sherlock and Watson never fly into the living room. They don't need to, right?
Right.
But if you're an awkward flyer, and the only reason that this even happened is I'm doing laundry today. So the curtain rod, the curtain that separates the living room from the dining room is not with the sheer curtains it normally has. It has my clothes hanging from it now.
Oh, okay.
So Scully was able to fly under the clothes, under the shirts. When I do shirt laundry, I hang the shirts. I don't dry them. I hang them to air dry. So the bird flew under the shirts and got into the living room, and it was therefore flying low enough, but not able to turn. The bird can't turn very well yet, so it flew straight into a corner. And then I know hit a wall. I heard it hit a wall and fall down. And it was right behind a couple of chests that I have that have comics in them and some D&D books on top of them. And I had to move some stuff around. I looked behind the chest to confirm the bird was there. And once I realized that's the case, it's like, okay, I'll figure out how to get you from behind her later.
Yeah, but she came out.
I can hear her. I just can't see her. So she's still back there. And she knows that the other birds are, Scully came out. Mulder is making noise like, where you guys at? And so now at least they're aware of each other's presence in two different rooms, so I think they can just hang out like that. You wanted to talk about the White Sox.
I did, which Triston McKenzie is a weird way to get into that, but he was, he was beat up pretty bad by the White Sox yesterday. And talking about weird camera shots, I'm not sure, but I could have sworn that they were picking up shots of Terry Francona sitting in the dugout with his hands folded across his belly like some kind of Buddha style, and just rocking back and forth.
Yes.
well, he's like this while McKenzie's on the mound.
Yes.
I don't know what,
because they can't. You know what it is? It's like they can't seem to figure out what Triston McKenzie last year came up as a rookie and was just lights out. Like he was really good. Yeah. And the problem might be now it's that thing of adjustments. Right now, Now hitters have adjusted to you, Triston McKenzie.
Uh-huh.
Right? You can't blow them away with fastballs. So now you got to locate your pitches.
Yeah, and he didn't.
Right? You have to command and locate your pitches. And if you're not doing that, yeah, we know you're good. But until you figure that part out, we're gonna hit you.
Yeah, yeah.
We don't fear you. Like we fear Shane Bieber. Yeah. We don't have to fear you yet. You know,
you have to fear him a little bit because you don't want to get clobbered in the head, and he really doesn't have control over.
Correct. Triston McKenzie's a little wild. Yes, which I also consider to be an exciting thing in baseball when it's possible that a pitcher is accidentally throwing up around people, like, and it's accidentally throwing up around your head versus purposefully throwing up around your head. I think there's a difference.
Yeah.
You know, this dude's wild. He's not trying to do it. You know, like Mitch Williams back in the day. He was all over the damn place, you know, but he wasn't purposefully trying to do it. He was just terrified.
Yeah. In the now that, that to bring us back around to baseball is boring and nothing is happening. The second inning, with the carousel of loaded bases, right?
Yes.
And I can't. The bases were loaded, and I'm sorry, I don't remember who was batting. I think it might have been Luis Garcia, the one who took the walk that brought in the first run.
Yes.
And he and there was a point where Steve Stone, it's like 3-0, 3-0. And 2 or 3 of the balls have gone like way where the catchers had to spring up to catch it. And Steve Stone says if he swings at the next ball, there is going to be an inquiry.
Yes. What are you doing?
That's what you need, is you need somebody like Steve Stone to tell you as a viewer why the fact that nothing happened there was like amazing, right? Because sure enough, he didn't swing.
This man is nowhere near the plate. Don't swing that bat.
And he's just walking to first, and there's a guy walking into home plate, and that was exciting. And then here comes Tim Anderson with his grand slam.
Yes.
And I knew Tim Anderson. I already knew Tim Anderson had hit a grand slam in that game. I was watching it this morning, so I was making sure I was there for it because I really wanted to see it. And I guess it was the second grand slam of his career. So I'm very excited to have said that I got to see Tim Anderson hit the second grand slam of his career. But Triston McKenzie's pitch was just, right down the center, right down the middle, and not very fast. And I just think it might have been very embarrassing.
Legion of fan, this is a thing that happens commonly in baseball. If you see a pitcher walking guys and just kind of being wild, you should keep watching, because the likelihood is now something exciting is going to happen, because oftentimes the only way a pitcher can deal with being wild and walking people and having no control is to make damn sure there's a pitch going straight down the plate. Right? This pitch must be straight as an arrow because nothing else has been. He must make one. So if you're a hitter coming up and you're going up against a pitcher who just can't seem to find the plate, you got to be thinking he's going to throw a fastball. He has to throw a fastball. Yeah. All the cute shit's failing. He must throw a fastball to me. Right? Yeah. Pitches being wild, keep watching, because it's going to get worse.
Yeah, exactly. For him.
Yes.
If you're a White Sox fan, it's going to get fantastic for you.
Yes.
And so of course Tim Anderson hit it. Of course he did. And what was beautiful about him hitting out of the park, you being a resident of Chicago and having been, conscious and in the world yesterday, he hit it out against that wind.
Yes.
Against that wind. That was some windy day yesterday.
Yeah, it was incredibly windy. It was so windy. At work, I kept hearing things hit the window, but not being able to see what was hitting the window, right? And it was basically like street garbage, right? Being blown down the street, but hitting the windows high. Like, it was weird. It was like, what the hell?
Yeah. I noticed that about Chicago. I've never really experienced it anywhere else, where the wind is so intense that it kind of creates like this suspended animation eeriness feeling. Like, I know I'm not in a hurricane because I'm in a major city, but this is weird.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really, really weird. Wind in Chicago is like nothing I've ever experienced.
It's pretty wild, and particularly if you're at like Sox Park or whatever. Your issue is that a lot of times it's wind coming it's you perceive it as it's coming off the lake. So you perceive it as coming out of the northeast, right? But you're not very far from the lake if you're at the park.
Right.
You're only about 1.5 miles, 2 miles from it. You're pretty close to it at the point where you're at Sox Park, because Sox Park isn't very far from downtown.
Okay.
Right? You're just across the expressway, and then you've just got a couple major streets, and the lake is right there. And that wind is coming off. It's coming around some very tall buildings near the lake, right? And that park is basically like a bowl that just kind of collects it.
Yes.
You know, it just
Yeah.
kind of absorbs and collects that wind. And if so, you're hitting the ball out on a day like that, you got every piece of that ball.
You did, yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
And that's why that was a great hit, and I love to see it. So I went and looked up Tim Anderson's OPS, and it's 754.
Okay.
Then I looked up league average OPS at Baseball Reference for like since 2019. That's about average. I mean, it's a little bit above average, but it's not like I want more. Like, but what do you want? Like, you know, like your greatest sluggers are what, like 1.1 OPS?
Yes, yes.
Right.
Greatest sluggers are going to have OPS above 1. Yeah.
What's your what's your expectation like as a fantasy owner, as an owner, as a GM, as a manager of yourself as a hitter? What is your expectation for OPS?
Well,
is it the worst if you're below 600? Like, is 600 a good line?
Yeah, I think that I feel like I like the 700 zone OPS, but like that's another thing that's not entirely dependent on just your skill. Like your patience is a factor. Right? Like, are you drawing walks?
Yeah. Okay.
If you're drawing walks, fantastic. That is also great. But it also, like, sometimes your lineup makeup, I think, affects it too. Right? Today, for example, guess who's not in the lineup today for the White Sox? Yermin Mercedes is not in the lineup. No, Yermin Mercedes is in the lineup.
Oh, wow.
He was going to be. He was scheduled to be. He was expected to be, but apparently he was late getting to the ballpark today. So Tony La Russa scratched him and put in Jake Lamb.
Okay.
As DH today, right? Right. If you're Tim Anderson or someone batting anywhere near Tim Anderson and Yermin Mercedes is meant to be your 3 or 4 hitter, right? Or even like, you know, whatever, the pitches you see are dictated by the fear pitchers have of the guys coming up behind you.
Yes.
Right? And the way Yermin Mercedes has been hitting the ball is different than how people are going to be thinking of a Jake Lamb hitting the ball, right?
Right.
So if I want my OPS up, I got to say, I need my best damn hitters in the lineup to give me the best chance to see the best pitches.
Okay.
Right? That I can either hit to get on, right? Singles, doubles, or pitches that I know I can just lay the hell off of. Right? You know, like they don't like there's situations where a pitcher has to go at a hitter because he needs this to be the out because he can't take a chance on the next guy.
Right.
That's the thing. But if Anderson's leading off, that's not really it, right? Like you're pitching to Tim Anderson in the beginning of the game because you have to pitch to Tim Anderson. Right. But he's also over a 300 hitter. So he's not just walking, he's hitting the ball.
He is a lot.
But if what's happening behind Tim Anderson is kind of replacement level player-ish, right? Then what you're going to get is I don't have to throw Tim Anderson too many fastballs.
Right.
I can slider and curveball and change up Tim Anderson.
Right.
You know, I can see if I can get Tim Anderson to chase something. Maybe he will, maybe he won't.
So what if he gets a hit?
Yeah. If I'm Tim Anderson, what I'm thinking about is shit, I don't have Yermin Mercedes in the lineup and some of my guys, this might not be the best lineup for me today. I need to make this pitcher throw more pitches so everyone sees more pitches.
Okay.
Right? To give them a better chance at actually getting hits as well. I like high OPS numbers for sure. Right? And I like high on base numbers for sure, but it requires some patience and some craftiness on the part of a hitter to get there.
Okay.
You know, Tim Anderson's a patient, crafty dude.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely. Yeah.
He's at least slightly above average with on base percentage.
Yeah.
You know, but he'll be better at on base percentage if you make damn sure that your mashers are in the lineup.
Right.
You know.
So what are we saying to we saying to Yermin Mercedes today?
In a weird sort of way, I'm not entirely sure. Like, I don't think like I heard somebody on the radio kind of intimate that maybe Yermin Mercedes like kind of needs to learn a lesson that maybe this is his first sign of like trying to be like kind of superstar guy in a way, like kind of had that kind of superstar attitude. I can show up late if I want to. And I'm not necessarily sure that's really the case. If I'm the manager, I need to figure out why the dude's late. And maybe it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Right. But you're late tonight. You don't play. And we kind of need to beat the Indians. Like Jake Lamb, now it's your job to go out there and do good.
Yeah.
Because we're teaching Mercedes a lesson. I don't want to like teach a player a lesson and cost me a game.
Right. You
know, damn it. Right. Nah, I don't really want to do that.
Right.
You know, particularly when we're playing like Luis Garcia practically every day. Like I got to see Adam Engel in my lineup more than I want to. Like things like that. There are a lot of defensive players on this team who are grabbing bats on a regular basis for the White Sox.
Right.
And I kind of think that you can't have that.
Right.
So just put guys who can hit 5 home runs in a game in the damn game. right?
Okay.
We'll fine your mean Mercedes. He ain't making a lot of money. He can't afford a fine. That'll teach him a lesson.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? But not playing, he ain't gonna get better by not playing.
I assumed that there was one of two things going on. One is that he was late and there's a penalty for tardiness, and this is it. Just a standing penalty, and that seems to be true of baseball. Or that he was literally late, as in he's not going to be ready to play, and so we have to scratch him.
Yeah, I think that my impression of it was he was in time to play. He just didn't get the ballpark on time.
Oh, okay.
So you want to make him walk back to the hotel? Then make him walk to the hotel.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? You want to punish the dude, but you need his bat in the line. Like it's the job.
Exactly.
Right? You know, like if I'm late for work, if I open the store 20 minutes late, my punishment can't possibly be now I got to sit in the back and just do back issues and not deal with customers all fucking day, right? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
You know, I am here. The store did open. We can still do business today. Today's just the day I was late. I'd rather not be late. Now, can we do some business already? Yeah. And it's like, you know, 90-year-old Tony La Russa doing crap like that. It's like, I don't want it to be like, it just doesn't matter if you're late, you're mean Mercedes, right? But if Tim Anderson is late, you scratching Tim Anderson from the lineup?
Nope.
You're not doing it.
Yep.
Right? Lucas Giolito, if Lucas Giolito's later, we gonna push his start back?
Nope.
No. Then why do we do it? Stop.
Yeah. I got that. Okay. So this leads very naturally into the next question, which is around Chicago. You know, the Chicago beat for podcasts, radio shows, etc. What is everybody saying about Tony La Russa?
Right now, nobody's complaining about Tony La Russa. Like, I think they're waiting to complain about Tony La Russa.
Okay.
We've had Lucas Giolito being Lucas Giolito, and we've had Carlos Rodon throwing a no-hitter, and we've had Yermin Mercedes come up out of nowhere, right? What people might be wondering is what's happening to Andrew Vaughn?
Yes.
Who was supposed to be Yermin Mercedes?
Yes.
How come that isn't happening?
Yes.
Right? And what your manager has to do is reach these players and keep them engaged and keep them ready. Okay. Right? That's kind of what you need here. And I would say that for right now, the way that there's so many good things happening for the White Sox, right? That I don't know if it's La Russa getting a pass, but there's so many good things happening right now that no one's coming after La Russa.
Okay, so
David Ross has a better chance of people going after him.
Baseball Prospectus had a headline. I didn't read the article. Unfortunately, I kept it though. A headline that said that Tony La Russa is leaving starters in too long.
Because the bullpen's been terrible.
Okay.
I would agree. He is leaving them in too long, but we don't have a position in baseball for somebody who is not a starter and not a reliever that can come in and pitch. The starter comes out of the game. Whatever, you create that position, you give it a name, and the White Sox will put that guy in, whatever that guy is called. But it can't be a relief pitcher because a relief pitcher on the White Sox sucks ass this year. So it needs to be something else. Like, what do you call that guy? A carpenter. Okay, then we're gonna put in carpenters. We're gonna put in some plumbers. Some form of tradesman goes into a game after the starter comes out. A roofer. Put in a roofer. Yeah. Right, and let the roofer pitch the ninth, the seventh, eighth, and ninth, and we're fine. He's leaving starters in too long because he has no damn choice. Okay. It's something he ain't trusted. That ain't his fault.
Okay, so for all I know, that is what the Baseball Prospectus article said, and I'll double check it. But that was that struck me because then there's my next thing. Actually, there's two next things there because I think that we were saying during the off season as we were coming up towards the start of the 2021 season that probably the teams that make it all the way are going to be the ones with the best bullpens. That bullpen is going to be the difference maker.
Absolutely.
The Nats have a really good bullpen.
Yes.
Yes. Who has the second best bullpen in baseball? Would you say? Would you say it's the Dodgers?
I was thinking Dodgers.
Yeah, I think so.
Dodgers and Padres. Have good bullpens. I think that there's a closer who's not closing. Oh, Cincinnati. Cincinnati has Sean Doolittle. And Sean Doolittle was a lights out closer for the last couple of years, right? And now he's not even closing. Right? He's behind Amir Garrett, so that's depth. Right. Yeah. This can help Cincinnati. Like, I don't know. I'm a little surprised, but the way Cincinnati's been playing, everybody's just playing their role. Right. So there are some good bullpens out there, and those are going to be the teams that end up helping themselves in the end. Yeah. Right. Carlos Rodon's no-hitter to me was improbable in the sense that there's no way in the hell Carlos Rodon is up there pitching and you're getting to the 6th or 7th inning and you're like, yeah, man, let's just leave Carlos Rodon in. What you're thinking is he better get a no-hitter, a pitcher-perfect game, because I don't know who I would go to if that guy has to come out of the game. Right? He got a no-hitter out of it. He almost had a perfect game, but I don't think that was like, boy, look that he was just like, oh my God, he was kicking everybody's ass. You just couldn't touch this dude. So much as he's still in, we're leaving him in because I don't know what I'm going to do if I got to. Right? That's what I was thinking. Like, what are you going to do? Who are you taking out of the game? I mean, you're going to take him out of the game. Who are you putting in when he no hit up to this point? If he gives up 2 hits, right? Like he gives up just 2 hits. He hasn't even given up runs. If he gives up 2 hits, who are you going to where you're like, don't worry, we got this. We got it. Nah, Tony La Russa ain't feeling that for nobody right now.
Well, I hope there's a chance they can change that around. I mean, either that the existing guys can turn it around, or because I don't know how you're going to add.
Remember, it's May 2nd now, right? So like everyone's game seems to be stepping up in the last couple of days that the weather's been nice everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? When the weather gets nice everywhere, suddenly people feel like playing baseball. The next thing you know, people are hitting the cutoff man. Right? I was watching the game earlier today and a damn catcher for the Cubs tried to steal home. Look, you only do that on days when you're feeling really good.
Yeah,
right?
That's exciting.
And technically, I think he did steal home, but they had to check with the replay in New York, and New York called him out. And I think they called him out because at some point his foot was up above home plate when he was tagged by I think Tyler Naquin, right? So it's either Tyler Naquin or Tucker Barnhart. I could get confused as who the catcher is on that team in Cincinnati, but I think it's Tyler Naquin. The trouble is that when the catcher had the ball as the Cubs catcher was running to the plate, but he sort of stopped running as if to sort of like give himself up, like, okay, you got me, you just go ahead and tag me. And then when the catcher didn't lunge to tag him, he flopped down and slid underneath him. And it's possible that his foot grazed, he was called safe by the umpire who was watching it. It's possible his foot grazed the plate before the catcher dropped on top of him to tag him, but his foot at some point had come up above it. So you can see at some point his foot is clearly above the center of the plate, but his foot may have touched the edge of the plate firsthand, and there's no camera directly above to determine that. So they ended up calling him out, but I thought, that's it. You only do that play if like you're feeling great about your day. You're a catcher stealing home.
Yeah,
and it was. Do you know how it was? It wasn't even stealing home. He ran home on the pitcher having pitched the ball, the catcher having caught the ball. But at the point where the catcher goes to throw the ball back to the mound is when he ran.
Oh wow! Oh wow!
Right. So he ran before the play could be called dead. Right. And then the pitcher has to fire the ball back to the catcher. It was totally like some little league bullshit, but like it's little league bullshit that you're only doing if it's 80 degrees.
Yeah.
You weren't doing this bullshit 3 weeks ago because 3 weeks ago you didn't want to be out there at 40 degrees.
That's right, yeah.
40 degrees warm. You didn't want to be out there. I ain't thinking about home play. Hell no.
Yeah, clamp down, get it done, go home. Yeah, all right. So maybe we'll see bullpens turn themselves around. Let's give them a chance.
Yeah.
See what happens.
That's it. Because like these guys are better than what they've been showing. I think they've only been showing it because they've been basically playing each year in the spring when baseball starts. Like it seems like to me, like for the last 15 years, each year is worse than the previous year.
Yeah.
In terms of conditions you're playing under.
Yeah.
You know, it just seems like they're playing worse and worse. Next year's going to be even crappier. It might be 2 weeks into May before anybody starts feeling normal, right? Because they start early, right? It's cold no matter what, you know, and yeah, it just blows. Yeah, Adam Eaton has an OBP of 300 or some shit. Like it's low.
Yeah, okay.
Or OPS. No, it was, his on base percentage is 300. Yeah, it's way lower than average. Yeah. His on base percentage sucks, right? But we know that Adam Eaton can play game. He can play ball. So like, I'm not too worried about that, right?
His track record is such that when Adam Eaton is at the plate, you're like, okay, you know, this could be good. This could be good. This is okay with me. Yeah. And he's nails, and he's been around. Yeah. And that's you know, and he brought that to the Nats. He brought it back to the White Sox, and that works for me. All right. So, Billy Hamilton. Couple words about Billy Hamilton, because when you had like no internet a couple of weeks ago, and I went on, one of the things I talked about was Billy Hamilton, because I didn't recognize him. The first time I saw him in a White Sox uniform, I didn't know who he was. I didn't
Yeah.
recognize him. But what I did see was this guy, and I went, wow, that guy's handsome. And I think what happened was he grew this like beard that's like super complimentary to his like super handsome.
So now you can't tell how skinny he is. His
Yeah.
beard kind of is like making you pay attention to like his face.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Your eyes are kind of coming up here. Yeah. And but also he wasn't playing. I don't know how often he gets in the game, but what he was doing was he was standing at the rail of the dugout. Nobody else was. Which is fine. That's no knock on anybody, but he's just like, he is like the team cheerleader.
Absolutely.
This guy is absolutely managing all of everybody's energy and keeping it really high and enthusiastic. And I think that's a really beautiful thing. That's like this role that he's taken on. And I love watching it. I just love watching it.
I think Billy Hamilton's also always been that guy, right? Billy Hamilton has been known. This is when we talk about like the longer you're in the game, the speed guys don't become speed guys anymore. Like you're not as speedy. You got noted. Billy Hamilton still, his only actual thing he can do for you is use his speed, but he's got to get on base to do that. And he doesn't do it consistently enough to be in the game every day.
Right.
Billy Hamilton can't start for you, but he can pinch run for you. And he's dying to pinch run for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. I got this, boss. Don't worry about it. Put me in. I'll run for whoever, you know, like I'll put on a disguise and come back and run again. Like, you know, like that's what he would do if he could do it.
He would. And I think I hope they keep him like forever. And I hope that they keep giving him opportunities to pinch run because of what he's doing just right there in the dugout is awesome. All right. So more about Billy Hamilton. Reverse awesome, right? Because I mean, I'm seeing him up during play. He's like up there on the rail. He's like waving and he's clapping and he's like putting all that energy out there. And then, you know, guys come back off the field and he's like doing all the high fives and getting everybody in there pumped. But before the game, he revs them up. I did not know this until I saw the coolest thing. Okay, it was the day of the doubleheader, White Sox Tigers, and I didn't see either game live. But what I did do is work out which the second game was and put that on. And I don't know how often they do this for you guys in the Chicago broadcast. I have never seen it before. They do a light show before the game starts that is out of this world. It is just out of this world because it's like this drum roll with lights, you know, like here come these guys, but it's like
there's a lot of activity.
Yeah. Oh, it is fantastic. I mean, stuff flashing, you know, on the marquees, the park lights, you know, are doing this like crazy patterns all over the field. And then just before it's time for the White Sox to take the field, it goes completely dark. They just shut everything off. Boom. Lights are off. And bring them up. Oh, it's theater. It is like awesome theater. And all this time, Billy Hamilton is down there on the steps and he is high-fiving and low-fiving everybody on the way to take the field. He is adding that little bit of extra, I wouldn't say it's a little bit, he's adding a lot of extra.
He's adding a lot,
to the entrance. And then this has to be, in terms of setting the mentality of the players, this has to be just phenomenal. You get this introduction with this light show that's worthy of gladiators, and you get this teammate who's like pumping you, like, you know, you are the most awesome thing I have ever seen. So wow. And I don't know, is Billy Hamilton working his way up to managing a baseball team someday? I wonder, you know, is he going to be bench coach next? And
bench coach, easily.
He's incredible. Bench coach. So he's not my new boyfriend. Nando's still my boyfriend, but I think he's favorite player of the podcast. Let's put it that way.
Sure. He's always been one of my favorite players. Yeah.
So do you think that the White Sox are a darling of this podcast? Because I kind of tend to think they are.
Easily. I think for the last season and this season too. Totally.
Yeah. And it's not just because you're in Chicago. I think the White Sox are really special.
Yeah, and then the opposite side of town from where I would be. Like, so like I'm on the north side. So like north side is kind of Cubs territory. The White Sox are south side. I am from the south side, but like this city has a complicated history on the south side with the area where the White Sox happen to be. You know, it's kind of complicated. You know, there's a thing there. But yeah, I like that if teams in this town are doing good, then summers are interesting because you're sitting around, you're in a tavern and you're watching games. Both clubs can be on, right? Doing good things, and like people are talking about it and there's a buzz, right? And you find that like the White Sox tend to be like the underdog team. Like that's a thing. They tend to be the underdog team, but when they're actually winning, then it's like, holy shit, we all have this feeling of what would a Subway Series be like in Chicago?
That's what I want to know.
Like that would be phenomenal. And every time both teams are in the race at the end, I start thinking about it like, ooh, this could be good. It's not just the Subway Series. It is the same train line, right? It's the same train line, almost equidistant from down, like really feels a little further from downtown Chicago, but only by a few stops compared to like Sox Park. Like Sox Park is 35th Street.
Okay.
And Wrigley is Addison, but Addison is like 3,700 north, and 35th Street is 3,500 south.
Oh,
so
wow.
like they're practically equidistant from down to the center of downtown Chicago.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like there's geographical history here. There is social political history here between these two fan bases and sides of town and franchises. Like there's a lot of stories that get to be told by Chicagoans if you had a Subway Series between these two teams.
Oh, wow.
You know? There is the attitude that basically the White Sox are always the blue collar baseball team with blue collar fans, blue collar fan base, blue collar attitude. And the Cubs have always been sort of like the team of like yuppies and kids, like, you know, kind of like privileged kids, like, and there's truth to both, but they're both exaggerated in a way. Right? The Cubs were better at marketing, not their team, because their team weren't winning, right? The Cubs were better at marketing the park. Like Wrigley Field was a character.
Yes.
Right? Sox Park and even old Comiskey, those weren't characters, but Wrigley, absolutely a character, you know? A total character involved. Like you could, the Superstation is a thing here, right? You could watch Cubs games in Denver when you were growing up. You could watch Cubs games in Arizona. The Cubs have fans everywhere because people grew up watching this team because they could see them anywhere. Sox Park, this was not the case. You couldn't watch this team from anywhere. The White Sox have a situation now where there's a fan in the stands, it's like a dad, a grandpa, and a kid. Somehow the grandpa must have got a ball, gave it to the little kid. The little kid was going to throw it back onto the field, and grandpa had to smother him real quick to keep him from throwing the ball back. Now the kid's crying because he doesn't know what the frustration was. Oh my God. Zach Plesac just fell off the mound.
No way.
He was about to throw the ball. I don't know if they're going to call a balk because I don't know if he actually made a move. I don't know if he was making a move to the plate yet, but he had took the ball, looked towards home, and just fell.
No way.
Nope, he'd absolutely started. It looks like what happened is somebody must have called timeout. The umpire was going to call timeout while Plesac was beginning his delivery. You got to see a replay of this. This is wild. Suddenly it's like his body just went in 5 different directions.
I will watch that. It's very rare that a pitcher falls off the mound. I mean, I know it happens, but that's going to be on blooper reels for the next 20, 30 years.
Yes, but I think it was the umpire. The umpire called time right when he was delivering the ball.
Yeah.
So he had no real choice there.
Yeah.
So he wasn't balking. He just it's like his brain was like, throw it. And the umpire's like, don't throw it. He's like, crap.
Okay, so 15 years from now, when you're watching, blooper reels and you see that, because it will be there, you'll be like, I saw that when that happened. I was watching when that happened.
I agree. Yeah.
I was watching and it went from that.
I think this dude's going to still be good then. You know, like, yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So obligatory wardrobe conversation. Because I was also watching the White Sox and I was noticing the contrast between how Jose Abreu dresses himself and how Tim Anderson dresses himself.
Okay.
On the one hand, you have the guy who's like crisp and smart and everything just buttoned up just right and everything just settled just right. Right. You know, I mean, that the V is perfect. Tim Anderson's clothes fit perfectly.
Yes.
And Abreu, you know, is like, oh, I forgot to button up one of my buttons, and oh, I didn't wear an undershirt. Sorry, I forgot.
Yes. He's just a big dude.
Yeah.
That he has a uniform and it is on.
Yeah.
You cannot say he's not wearing it. It is on his body. Yes. Some players are just like that. Some guys are just John Kruk it some days, right? It's just a John Kruk situation. The uniform is on his body. It might not be like fitting just right, but it is on his body.
All right. So, and there's room for both in the game, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Baseball.
So we understand what's going on with Jose Abreu. What does this mean about what's going on with Tim Anderson? Like, how is he so perfect?
I think it's that kind of professionalism Tim Anderson is like carrying. Like,
yeah.
I don't think Tim Anderson, when he got here, expected that he'd be the man on the team. I think Tim Anderson got to this team years ago and was kind of okay being like just, the middle infielder sort of like team guy, right? But the last couple of years, there's more young guys on the team. He's a veteran dude, and I think he's accepting. He's a leader now. So as a leader, he's probably like ironing his uniform in the morning, right?
I don't.
He's pressing his socks.
He looks to me like he's got like a literal trained English butler to do this for him, because it is that perfect. I mean, like somebody's there with a tape measure when he gets dressed and a protractor just to make sure the angle is perfect,
Yes. That's why Tim Anderson didn't want to answer that question about what he was having for breakfast.
Yeah. He didn't know what his butler had cooked for him yet.
That's right. I'm having the Reds for breakfast.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, love him.
He didn't want to answer that question.
So love both those guys, but yes, smart, talented, and an interesting contrast. And both of them, like when you watch stuff that happens after key plays, and when you watch stuff that happens after games, to the extent that the cameras will let you see that, they are both amazing teammates, not just to each other, but as far as the team goes. So I'm just seeing these guys, like Anderson and Abreu and Hamilton, just bringing this like incredible, what has to be really cohesive energy to that team.
And it's also, you got to contract it with guys like Fernando Tatis, right? Like who look like kids who've kind of modified their uniforms to make it perfectly kind of punk rock for them, right? Yeah. Like Tim Anderson's not that dude.
No.
He's not that dude. Like, and he's fine with young players coming up and putting their own spin on things. But Tim Anderson, I bet he's thinking about it. I wear the uniform. The uniform's the uniform. It's time to go to work.
Yeah.
Right? He's not trying to like personalize it and make it like cool.
Yeah.
Right? You know what would be cool? If I get 2 hits today and steal a base. Right? If I score 2 runs and get 1 hit, like take a hit and a walk. Like,
let's turn a couple double plays while I'm at it, because I'm the best athlete on the field. Thank you very much. Which is fair. He's a shortstop. He is, and he seems to me to be a man. Both of them, Abreu and Anderson, very solid.
Abreu is batting right now. He looks like he's wearing a softball uniform.
Yeah, right.
Everybody else is wearing a baseball uniform. Abreu looks like he's wearing a softball uniform. Yeah. Well, like for some reason, it doesn't look the same to him. Yeah.
Yeah. He needs to borrow that butler. That's what he needs to do. We're gonna call the butler Bunter. That'll be his name. His name will be Bunter the Butler. Yeah, the official White Sox butler, who probably doesn't exist, but he does. Absolutely. All right, so to finish off, little game I thought that we might play. That I think later will not be a game so much. I had this idea that in every episode, because I'm really trying to build our senior menu team, right?
Okay.
As you found out last season, and as I'm finding out this season, is kind of a lot of work.
Yes.
To build a senior menu team. So I thought, you know what? You got a job. Terry's got a store. You can't just like do nothing and build your senior menu team.
You have 5 jobs, Beth.
I have, because I'm signing a contract this week for a subject matter expert job. So I work a lot. But I'm excited about it. It's only for 9 weeks. It's no big deal. But so as far as building a baseball team goes, maybe I don't get that done in a couple of days, but maybe weekly. Like maybe weekly we look at who our seniors are.
Yeah.
Now, embarrassingly, now that I've said that, I forgot to do this for the White Sox, but I will, and I'll put it in the episode notes. I did get started on the concept, and it seems to me that what we really need is the 2 oldest players on every team. We need the oldest pitcher and we need the oldest hitter.
Oldest position player. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because oldest position player. Yeah, because otherwise, I don't know what kind of a team we'd end up with in the end. I mean, if we had half pitchers or not enough position players, we're gonna have to mess with this a bit. So, I will look up oldest White Sox pitcher and oldest White Sox position player, and they will be the first members drafted to our senior menu. Team. But then there's also some other things that I thought that we could name as far as teams go. So, we have oldest players. But I thought we could also say maybe most impactful player.
Okay.
Who would you say on the White Sox is the most impactful player?
Normally I want to say Tim Anderson, but this year Yermin Mercedes really did like make a big impression.
He made a big impression.
Huge impression.
And do you think it's going to last? No. I know we've talked about that before.
What I think is, even if it lasts through May and June, it's at the All-Star break when everything changes, right?
That's true.
Oh, Abreu just got hit.
Oh, whoops. Yeah. I wouldn't hit that guy. That guy's huge.
Yeah. I think that's how he got hit. He's a refrigerator. So, like, it's hard to miss it, right? Like, you're throwing at a Buick.
Every
You
time,
know?
yeah, every time I see Moncada or Abreu come to the plate, I'm like, how small would I feel if I stood next to one of those guys?
Yeah.
Like, how small would I feel? Because, on the TV, they don't look that big just because everybody's about the
Right.
same size. But oh my goodness, those guys are big.
Yep.
All right. So do you think that we'll have to revisit Yermin Mercedes at the
I think
All-Star?
we'll have to, because it's at the All-Star break where I think everything changes, right? Suddenly,
Okay.
like, guys, adjustments get made at the All-Star break. Numbers aren't the same post All-Star break,
Okay, so also on the White Sox, and this is wide open. This could be anybody for any reason. Who would you say is the most special player on the White Sox?
Tim Anderson.
Oh yeah, okay. And why do
He
we
does
say
it
that?
all. He does everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need Tim Anderson. You need somebody to do a thing on this team. Tim Anderson's gonna be the guy that's gonna do whatever the hell it is you do.
Okay. And that's
Now we ought to be waiting for it. Really, it should be Yohan Moncada, really. You know what I mean? Like, that's the person I think I expected it to be.
Yeah.
Right? With all the tools he has.
Yeah.
And he hasn't quite gotten there yet.
Yeah. Why not?
Well, COVID was a big factor for him last year.
Yeah.
Right. But I think it also just might be like manager changes, right? Like, I think that at some point somebody just has to get more out of, has to know how to get more out of this guy.
Okay.
Right. And this might be the bounce back year, which means next year is going to be the step up.
Okay.
Right? This is what I'm wondering here.
That would be pretty great, because
giving him a full season, non-COVID, to get out there, find his footing again.
Yeah.
This team doing well with him just being kind of Yohan Moncada-y. And then next year, let's see if he can step it up.
Year before last, the 2019 season, even 2018, 2019, I felt like the White Sox were expecting Yohan Moncada to be Tim Anderson, right?
They really were, yes.
Yeah. And they hadn't even really given him enough around him. Like, it was just like, here, you go out there.
The idea was they had traded Chris Sale for him, right? And they thought there's going to be fruit from that Chris Sale trade. This guy is going to be Anthony Rendon. Is what I think they were thinking, right? And it hasn't happened yet, but I think it hasn't happened yet because he still has to kind of grow into that, right? You don't want him to kind of like plateau, because like, they might have thought they had a Chris Bryant on their hands when they got this guy, and it turns out he's not quite there yet. But I think he's still young, and just has to grow into that.
So maybe we give him his own category. Maybe we call him the most promising player.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah,
I mean, do you consider the White Sox in general? Is he your most promising player?
Probably. Like, I want to see the most growth out of him.
Okay, because we're not really going to see it with Eli Jimenez, right? Because he gets hurt too much.
Don't believe so. He gets hurt a lot, and I think that we already know his game is his game.
Okay, and what about Luis Robert though? Is he a contender?
He is, but I think that next year is his year as well. Like, I don't like. He's the guy that they thought was going to be their Mookie Betts.
Okay.
Yeah, they thought a young 5'2" guy that comes up and does all those things, right? They're going to benefit by watching Tim Anderson do all those things.
Yeah.
For a full season.
Yeah. Okay. So we have most impactful, most special, and most promising. We'll have oldest players.
Yes.
Do you have any other like maybe most charismatic or something like that, like the one that people outside of baseball might be the most capable of connecting to, or they'd be like, oh, that guy, yeah, I want to see that game.
Strangely, Lucas Giolito might be the most charismatic.
That is strange.
Like he's got the hair for it, right? He's got a good voice. You hear Giolito talk, it's like, oh, that is not what I expected this baseball pitcher to sound like. All right.
Well, at least we got a pitcher on the list.
Yeah.
You're that White Sox pitchers. One of you belongs on our list. Yeah.
Yes.
Although Carlos Rodon has pretty cool hair.
Sure.
Yeah. I saw him on an interview, and he was in between two people. Maybe it was High Heat, and he has like that ultimate hipster hair that was like so popular. It's like completely shaved away here, but then it's like massively full, and like all kinds of wild stuff. Yes. It's pretty impressive. Yeah, but he's more less outgoing, I think, than Giolito. Okay, so that's that. Can you think of any other categories we'd want to throw out?
No, I think this is good.
All right. So I thought we'd stay away from colorful and go to charismatic instead.
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right. And so next week, maybe we'll do the Kansas City Royals.
All right, cool. Royals.
Yeah,
I like it.
Look at those Royals. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So Legion of Fan, we let you down in one respect. We didn't actually explain to you what OPS is. Do we want to do that before we wrap?
On base plus slugging percentage. You just add up the on base percentage plus the slugging percentage, and you get the OPS. On base plus slugging.
All right. All right.
Slugging is basically, so those get a little more complicated, I think. Your on base percentage is basically the percentage of times you reach base, but do not just involve hits, it includes walks.
Right.
Right. So just ways of getting on base, like Jose Abreu just getting hit by a pitch a couple minutes ago, right?
Yeah.
And your slugging percentage is hits, but it is also like home runs. It is types of hits.
Yes.
Get added together to make a percentage there. Right.
The way
So
I like
batting
to think
average is
about
just your batting average is just like, doesn't account for walks. Walks aren't at bats.
Right.
Right. But in slugging, lots of other things get counted other than you getting a base hit.
Right. I tend to think of it as getting on base plus how much power you have. That's just how I tend to think of it. Yeah.
Because where you end up on base factors in your slugging percentage.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can have, as you might have noticed, Legion of Fan, from our conversation earlier, is you can have greater than 100. You can have greater than 1,000. You can have a really high OPS because you have a lot of power. You have a lot of power. Your favorite player is going to be the one that's got 1.1, 1.2.
Yes.
And Barry Bonds was like, what, 2.6 or something?
Absolutely. It was stupid. It's ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. It's just
all right.
Stupid. Yeah.
So other than that, we have not let you down, Legion of Fan. You've had another wonderful episode with me, with my friend and fellow podcaster, Terry Gant. Thank you for listening to Dropped. Thank you for listening. Yeah, that'll be a new thing, a popped third strike. Thank you for listening again to our Dropped Third Strike, and turn into the love.
Turn into the love, everybody.
Bye, Terry.
Bye, Beth.